All right, I believe we are live. Hello, hello, successful souls. My goodness, I have such a fun episode for you today. One being, of course, we have an amazing guest, but also two, if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you come and join the Spiritual Success Sorority Facebook group because our members are actually watching this live right now. Honestly, you do not want to miss this amazing woman's gorgeous face, first of all. Second of all, the dynamic today is going to be really fun. So watching live is just a special plus for members only. So I'm really excited to be streaming live. As you're coming in, everybody here, our successful soul sisters, make sure you're saying hi. We want to engage with you. We want to answer any questions that you have coming in. But let's talk about today's guest. I'm going to do a special introduction for you because what's so funny is I met this woman on the internet. I absolutely love that. It's never been easier to connect with people. I always love me a good DM conversation. I love connection calls, but there was something special about our guest today, Tara Grace, when I just saw her picture. First of all, her profile picture is the bomb, but something about energy. I really do believe just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. My whole body zinged. Zing, when I connected with her. She actually reached out to me. We went back and forth. We had a connection call, which led to another one. And it was just being kind and just being nice and seeing how we can serve each other. And honestly, the thing is, she's becoming one of my favorite people quickly. So she, as you're going to see in just a little bit, absolutely exudes goddess feminine energy. She lives a glamorous lifestyle, which I absolutely adore. She's honestly just so authentic and genuine and truly vulnerable, which, as you know, if you listen to me, I believe is your biggest superpower. I love that about her, but she's also really compassionate and just straight up fun. Not to mention, I really do believe she's just a badass. So she may not look it if you're watching here on video, but she is truly somebody that I would call and consider an OG. So she's a pioneer and an absolute role model for many female entrepreneurs and leaders because she was in the game leading the way, honestly, in this industry of coaching before it was even a popular thing. So I'm honored to not only have her as a friend, but as a guest here today. So all my successful souls, I'd love for you to welcome Tara Grace. Tara Grace, say hi to all the successful souls.
Hello, ladies. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, world. I am honored to be here. I'm so grateful and thankful for such a loving, gracious introduction. And I am just as honored to be here with you. And I don't take these invitations lightly. I don't say yes to every invitation. So anytime I'm featured on a podcast, anytime I'm featured on a summit, it's because I'm actually in relationship with that human. It's not just to do a thing. And Cynthia, I have been in awe of you, in your leadership and your courage and Cynthia is the woman you want to watch rise. She has continued to rise in her feminine power. The moment I connected with her, I knew the very first time I ever interacted with Cynthia, I knew there was something so special and rare about her. And I've continued to watch her really just own her power and go for her dream. So it's an honor to be here with you, my love.
Thank you. I love that. You know, what's funny is I love for our listeners to know too, I think you're only about an hour and a half from me. So future coffee dates are definitely happening. But it's funny how there's just like this immediate zing when you meet somebody, even if it's on the internet. It looks like you might have frozen for a second. So I want to make sure we're able to connect. But let's see. Give it 1 second. You have to remember this is live. All right, everybody, if it's frozen for you, just wait a second. I'm sure she'll kick back in because today is definitely an episode you don't want to miss. I'm really excited what we're going to be talking about. But she looks gorgeous frozen. Let's see if she's able to reconnect here.
Yeah, give me just a moment, trying to get back.
Totally cool. That's okay, everybody. So basically, she'll hop in just a second, I'm sure of it. How this is going to work today is, as we're filming here live, today is St. Patrick's Day, right? If you're watching live, it's St. Patrick's Day. And no, today, here she comes back in. Today isn't necessarily, here she comes. Yay. All good, mama. And this is a perfect example. Thank you. When I'm talking about being vulnerable and I'm talking about just go with it in imperfect action, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly it. The show must go on, and we're totally going to still rock and roll with this. It's going to be fun. Okay, so as I was saying, as we're filming live right now, we both have our green on, but of course, today is St. Patrick's Day. Woo, love it. But no, we're not going to be talking about, how do we get lucky? How do we be lucky? How do we get more luck in our life? Today really is all about embodying good fortune and utilizing feminine energy to do so. Before we get into it, honestly, I'm going to be taking notes today myself. I hope you're taking notes if you're listening and watching. But before we get into it, I'd love Tara to talk a little bit more about what she does, how she helps her clients. And honestly, I love a good story in the making. So I'd love for her to share a little bit about how all of this came to what it is. I have quite the story, but I really respect this woman because of what she's done as well. So I'd love for her to share a little bit about that. So Tara, I'm passing over the mic.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited. So glad we're connected again. Okay, so I'm so excited to be here because I have literally dedicated my life's work to the spiritual and financial liberation of women. And yes, I've been empowering women, coaching women, liberating women before social media was ever a part of our daily lives. And I know that that's almost hard to believe. But, there was a day and age before the internet, before social media. And, there's been three major initiations that has happened in my life. So my teachings come as a direct result of lived experience. And the very first initiation happened when I was 19 years of age. I was pregnant, and that was when my life shifted. That was the wake up call. That was when I woke up. This was when I came online, if you will, in terms of my spiritual awakening, my spiritual activation. And so this is what I call my priestess initiation. This is when I entered the portal of wisdom. This is when I said a prayer that changed the trajectory of my life. And it was, God, if you're real, show me how to figure out this thing called life. And I promise to dedicate my life in service to you all the days of my life. Show me how to figure out this thing called life. Show me how to be successful, and I will dedicate my life in service to love. And that's exactly what has happened. That's continued to serve. And that prayer took me places that I never dreamed of. And I learned how to co-create with the universe. I knew that prayer opened up so many doors for me, and it allowed me to know how to partner with the divine, how to ask for divine wisdom and guidance. I was no longer alone. The reason why I said that prayer was because I was in a very dark night of the soul. I felt very alone. I was very young. The father of my child, who was my fiance at the time, decided he did not want to be a partner. He did not want to be a father, and he ran away. And so up until that point, he was the only human that had showed me love, that had showed me, like any kind of real sense of belonging. And, I was absolutely devastated. And yet I somehow, some way had enough sense to ask for the divine to support me. So if I could give you any piece of wisdom, that's the most important piece of wisdom you'll ever have in your life, is to partner with the divine in your life purpose, in your career, in your business, and in your fortune. Now, back then, there was no merging of spirituality and business, or women and spirituality and money. That's how I became a pioneer. I began to create the conversation that had never been had before. This is the time when women were still wearing suits. And there was this beautiful conversation that I was able to bring to the table and to the marketplace, because I looked around and I couldn't find any mentors that were able to give me both spiritual wisdom and leadership and teach me about money and all these things. So I really had to fall down quite a bit, scrape my knees, figure out what works and what didn't work. And then finally, when 2009 came on the scene, Facebook, that's when everybody started merging from MySpace to Facebook. And that was when really the coaching industry kind of came online, literally online. And I guess a few years, I found a few mentors started hiring world-class leaders in the area of money and leadership and coaching. And that was when I really initiated into the portal of wealth and activated my queen codes before I activated my priestess codes. So these are divine feminine archetypes that have archetypal energies for embodiment. The priestess's relationship with life and money is that it's sacred. What would be possible for you if your relationship to life itself was sacred? If your relationship to money was sacred, how would you talk about it? How would you treat it? How would you manage it? How would you multiply it? What would be your relationship with life if you knew that life was sacred and that life was here to support you, and not just support you, but partner with you, co-create with you, give you all of the wisdom needed to move forward? So when I went into the queen portal of initiation into the portal of wealth, into activating my queen codes, this is where I transformed and healed my relationship with money. This is where I raised my standards. This is where I learned how to have impeccable integrity about who I am, what I'm available for, what I'm not available for, and created a beautiful premium transformational lifestyle and leadership and impact and business and serving people all over the world. And then finally, I initiated into the goddess archetype, which is really activating that pleasure, the pleasure codes. I dropped gosh, over 45 pounds of fat. I had gained on a lot of weight. And then I dropped it and just really activated this goddess energy, this pleasure, this feminine essence. And it has been revolutionary, activating the going into the portal of well-being. So I believe when you take your wisdom and you turn it into your wealth, you will ultimately experience well-being. And these are the prosperity codes, the feminine prosperity codes that can support you in living your divine fortune. And on this lucky day of St. Patty's Day, this is what we wanted to bring to women: is permission to live your divine fortune and being in service to love's purpose, because that's what you build your life and your business on, is in service to love's purpose. There's no other foundation to build it on that will bring you fulfillment the way that does. And also, activating those queen codes where you are a powerful woman and you are generating amazing money and are just powerful in your leadership and in your money, but also the goddess energy where you're able to do it, you're able to have it all, be it all, do it all in your feminine essence, where you don't lose your feminine essence, your feminine magnetism, right? Your feminine glory. And this is what I believe is the formula for living your divine fortune.
Muted myself. Honestly, I hope you all are taking so many notes already, just thinking about this. And there's so many things I want to point out about what she said. First of all, partnering with God in your business, partnering with the universe. I think that's so important. Let's remember, as an entrepreneur, you do the things that other people won't do. So you get to live the life that other people don't get to live. The mindset is 80% of it. And it's like understanding that it can be lonely. People look at you, say, you spent what? You spent what? No, I invested this, I invested that. You're doing things that most other people don't do. And that can be scary or it can be exciting. Again, we're the CEO, we're the one that labels it. But at the same time, it's funny because 2021, my first thing was I'm going into this year with God as my partner in my business. And it has made all the difference in my decision making, all the support. And I love that you said that too, because that's a huge part of it. But also, what I want people to know is that she's the real deal, as in she's saying, yes, I invested in myself. Yes, I got mentors. Remember, I say this all the time. If your mentor does not have mentors, you need a new mentor. I think it's really cool. You don't talk about it a lot, but I personally know that Tara's invested over $300,000 into her own mindset training, business consulting. Like, this is the real deal. This is what I'm talking about, that you are not a gamble. You always put yourself first. Everything in life is an investment and you're the first investment. So I think she really just lives and embodies that alone. And I think that's what a role model should do. I love that the feminine. I'm really interested in learning more about these queen codes. A lot of my followers know that I say inner feminine beast. I think they're related here, but I'm excited to see how they tie in together. And also too, mind, body, soul, it is a real thing. I'm a woman who lost 75 pounds, and no, it's not that about image. It's just something about it being connected. So I just think I relate on so many levels, and it's making so much more sense to me of why the zing is still here. So last thing that you mentioned, service is really what success is. Just serving, serving, serving. When you give, you will receive. But today I was like, Tara, what do you want to talk about? And right away, she's like, embodying, good fortune through feminine energy. I would love for you to talk more about these queen codes. I would love for you to just, I know you have a plan and you're going to serve so much here. So everyone's so used to hearing me. I'm going to be the quiet one today. I'm going to be listening. I'd love for you to serve here and share what your wisdom.
I love that. Thank you so much, Cynthia. So, activating the priestess, and creating this beautiful sacred relationship with life, sacred relationship with money, really taught me how to co-create with the divine in my purpose. And I feel like, especially in the online industry right now, although it's so amazing, women have the most amazing opportunity now more than ever before to literally start your business, start leading. If you have a camera and you have social media and you have a PayPal link, you can literally be in business today. You don't have to have a fancy website. You don't have to have fancy titles. If you have a message in your heart. So my message to you is to begin sharing, as that priestess, archetypal energy, initiation that I was in, I was willing to speak anywhere at any time, for nothing, because my heart was in it to be of service. And I do believe that that really qualifies you, that allows you to practice, that allows you to have experience, that allows you, to see where you grow. You know what I mean? Like it really does develop you. And the queen initiation, even though I've studied and also taught the spiritual principles and the spiritual laws for success, my outward reality was not a direct reflection of the inner riches of my heart and the inner riches of my soul. And so how many of you can relate with that, where there's so much divine potential on the inside of you, but you're just not seeing the fruit of that being manifested in your outer world. And so I started to feel like a really big fish in a small fish bowl, where I just couldn't like break out and expand. And I discovered that koi fishes, those beautiful, like I think they're like an Asian fish that
Yeah,
whenever you go to like
we were
an
feeding them all
Asian,
weekend in Orlando.
yeah, so like usually you feed them and they got a little pond. It's usually at Asian restaurants or parks. Did you know that they grow to the size of the container? So if you have a small container, they'll be small. But if they're a bigger container, they'll be larger. And so that's such as life, isn't it? Such a beautiful lesson where it's what is the container you're putting yourself into to expand? And so for me, I knew that I had to find a woman who had already done what I wanted to do, who already created what I wanted to create, who had the lifestyle, who had the beingness, who had the energy, who had the results that I wanted to create in my life. I was no longer willing to suffer anymore. I was no longer willing to suffer. So transformation happens when you're no longer willing to struggle, to suffer, to be in pain. And it happens when you're willing to do whatever it takes to create what you do want instead. It's not enough to say what you don't want. So many people can talk about what they don't want. It's rare you come across humans that actually know for sure what they do want. And what I knew for sure was that I needed a bigger container to grow. I needed to expand. I needed to create the reality. I needed to see riches on the outside in my life that could match the inner riches of my heart, the depths of the riches in my soul and so that's when I studied everything I possibly could on the unique psychology of money and leadership, specifically in women. So I have studied, the unique psychology of money and leadership in women for over 15 years. I've studied it, I've certified in it, I've been licensed in it, I've taught it, I've worked with women from all over the world. And, there's certain core psychologies that are the same, that are universal in women. And then there are some that's based on cultural differences.
Right.
And it's just so fascinating because as women, we tie our worth so much in especially if you're an entrepreneur, in the amount of money we make. Now, this isn't really, you don't really apply this necessarily, in the corporate world, but when you put yourself out there as a personal name in your own business, and now you're responsible for writing your paycheck, you're responsible for basically sharing the gift of you in exchange for the energy of money.
Right.
That is a whole nother game. That is playing at a higher level, and that requires queen codes. And the queen's relationship to and with life and money is that it is abundant, that life is abundant, that there's an unlimited supply. The quantum queen archetype is all about limitlessness, richness. The benevolent queen archetype is all about still service, because the shadow archetype queen is like an ice queen or like a shadow queen, and people might think queen, oh, who does she think she is or whatever. But a benevolent queen, a quantum queen, a benevolent queen is there to serve the people, and it's about for the greatest good of all. And she also builds her kingdom. She wants her queendom to prosper, right? The quantum queen is all about, like, you can collapse timelines. You can bring your future self into the now by deciding to be the vision, version, and vibration of you right now. You don't have to wait until when you have. You don't have to wait until then you can. You don't have to wait. You can choose to be the woman you've always dreamt to be right now, right here. And that requires queen codes. That requires an enormous amount of courage. It requires an enormous amount of personal integrity, meaning you are not going to compromise your willingness to do whatever it takes to prosper from the inside out. You're not up for negotiation. You don't check your bank account to consult your bank account on whether or not you can or cannot do something. You say, this is what I choose for my life, and now I'm locking that in as my reality. I'm going to speak like her. I'm going to walk like her. I'm going to talk like her. I'm going to make decisions like her. I am going to be the living, walking, talking, breathing, full embodiment of queen. And I became that. I had to become the living, walking, talking embodiment of queen before I ever became one. Okay, I had to be the living, walking, talking embodiment of goddess before I ever became goddess. So it doesn't happen when you get then, or when your husband starts acting right, or when your children leave the nest. It doesn't happen like that. Your dreams, your self-actualization starts today, right now. And it starts with your intentional design and desire and commitment to allow and receive and be the full embodiment of the highest vision, version, and vibration of you right now, not tomorrow, not next year, not when, not then, now. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It's your now faith that creates miracles. Your now faith is what creates miracles. And the queen's yes is yes and no and no. She doesn't live in confusion. She's not doubting herself. She is a yes and she is a no. And I was just sharing with my students and clients yesterday that my no is just as sacred as my yes. And when you really activate your queen codes, you're actually saying more no's than you say yes. When I first got started, yes, I'll be on your summit. Yes, I'll speak everywhere. Yes, I'll be on your podcast. Now I'm a queen. Now I get to cherry pick my clients. Now I get to cherry pick the summits I choose to be on, the relationships that I get to have, the collaborations, because I'm embodied in my queen. Like, the queen is about looking at who are my soul allies, who are my soul divine right clients and students that I meant to serve. The queen has standards, impeccable standards, and she's not willing to lower her standards for anyone or anything because she is fully embodied in the worth and the identity of who she is. And this goddess, oh my gosh, her relationship with life, her relationship with money is all about pleasure. It's about well-being. She is the energy of infinite receiving. She is not going to say, when someone comes to her and says, you look so beautiful today, Cynthia, your hair is gorgeous, that color is rocking and banging, that green is popping, that tan is glowing, that lip color is just, where can I buy it? And imagine if Cynthia said, oh, this old thing, I got this from a thrift store, or oh, this
Oh, no,
lipstick
you look great
shirt, or,
too.
the lady who did my hair, I really didn't like it. That shows me there's a block there. When I see women not able to even receive those simplest things, it's because they've closed their heart to receiving. And your superpower as a woman who's in her feminine radiance, because your superpower is magnetism, honey. Your superpower is your glory, your magnetism, your beauty, like your radiance. And beauty is a frequency. It's not even necessarily, that you have the perfect body or the perfect shape or the perfect whatever. Beauty is not perfection. Beauty is a frequency, and this frequency is a high level frequency. It lives with abundance. It lives with joy. It lives with love. Like when you see a beautiful rose, it increases your frequency. Like you see beauty in nature and you're like, oh, you see a beautiful woman. Even women looking at other women, we dress up for ourselves mostly. Like we live for those compliments. Oh, you're so beautiful. Like you look so great today, because when we look good, we feel good. And when we feel good, we show up at our best. And the goddess is about infinite receiving. She gives herself permission to receive all of the deliciously divine beauty and glory and praise and everything that's good and everything that is beautiful and everything that's abundant in this life. She gives herself permission to receive. She gives herself permission to allow to receive that. She doesn't say no, but I can't, I don't know. I mean, like she's not in that, right? She just gives herself permission to be ecstatic with life. She gives herself permission to be orgasmic. She has a relationship with money that's pleasurable. What would be possible for you if your relationship to and with life and money was pleasurable, was delicious? What if you believe that your relationship with money was actually here to support you? Because the priestess believes, just as God, spirit, universe, creator, creatrix of all life is there to support her soul's divine purpose in the world, and how money is there to support that purpose in the world, the goddess's relationship with money is that it's here to bring her pleasure, to enjoy all the beauty and the amazing experiences that life has to offer. What would be possible if women all over the world gave themselves permission to be the goddesses that we've always been? What would be possible if women all over the world gave ourselves permissions to be the queens, the royal queens we've always been? What would be possible if women all over the world reclaimed our priestess's birthright?
Yes.
What would be possible? I will tell you what would be possible. The world will heal, and the world will shift, and the world will elevate, and we will be able to do more good than we ever have. And now is the time like never before for women to rise in feminine power, wealth, and leadership, and do it in style, do it in grace, and do it in love.
Ah! Do y'all see why I love this woman? Oh my God, I love it. Honestly, you're it. Like this is exactly what I want them to hear. You're going to hear a lot of different underlying things that we both share, but honestly, I'm not making it up, everybody. You just heard her say it too. But the thing is, it's the fact that she does it her way, and she's this mission is it's a real thing. Quite a few things you brought up here that, again, I just want to remind everybody. The first thing is first that you brought up is imperfect action. You don't have to wait. And I want everyone to understand that, especially entrepreneurs. I always say that it's not about glittery posts. It's not about shiny websites. It's about being the face and being in front of people and having emotional connection and being authentic. Nobody needs all these other versions. They want you. And that's what it's about. Very often, my kids are shooting me with Nerf guns in the middle of these interviews, but people can
I
relate
love
to
that.
that. I'm a mom. That's how it works. I love that. Also, too, you've never had it easier. If you're waiting, why? Because so many of us, I would love everybody to tell me where you're at right now. There's people all over the world in this Facebook group alone that are listening to this podcast. Within the last few months, I've talked to people in Bangkok, in Slovenia, Slovakia. I had to Google where those were at because I didn't know. It's never been easier. I'm in my young 30s. I went to college for marketing and advertising. Y'all, Facebook wasn't even around. What the hell? Like all that money on advertising, social media wasn't even a thing yet. It's never been easier. Just get up and go. And what I love more than anything is that you decided that analogy with the fish tank, you just decided. Like that's the start of success is deciding. Everything in life is a decision. You either decide for you or you decide against you. But either way, you have to own it. You have to claim it. You have to make it yours. And we just talked about it this week here in the Facebook group. We talked about the topic of the week that everybody voted for, thinking from the end result and not of the end result. Being her. You call her the queen, you call her the goddess. And I love that. I call her the inner feminine beast, but that's exactly it. And when you can really align with that, that's when you're in your full power. That's how you shine your light. That's how you help more people and create a ripple effect. And that's how you leave your legacy by being your authentic feminine self. And both she and I loved it. She talked about women in power suits all the time. And when I came from the bourbon, world, I came from business consulting where it was just perfectionism all the time and competition after competition. When you are drowning in masculinity, you're losing your power. And it's not about being female and it's not about being male. It's the feminine qualities that really help us to shine and to heal. And together we rise. I'm so happy that you could hear from her take because she gave me goosebumps. And I think there's so much quality and just amazing information that you just provided here. So, what was it exactly when you realized that fish tank was so small and you decided you were going to make a decision? What was the first few steps that you did to really start embodying this queen, this goddess energy?
I may start, just like you said, I started making decisions from where I wanted to be. I had to become the vision, version, and vibration of who I had to become, the six-figure woman before I became the six-figure woman. And I made decisions as her. I invested as her. I designed programs as her. I had to become the vision, version, and vibration of me of a multi six figure woman before I became a multi six figure woman. And then I had to become the embodiment of a sacred millionairess. So I would say the greatest work that I do with my clients who I launched to six, multi six, and seven figures with feminine grace and empowered ease is, identity work. Identity work is so important. Most people want to jump from here to there based on what is the strategy. Everyone's looking for the strategy. But if you do not create, if you do not source wisdom from your soul first and then create this strategy or even source the wisdom from your soul for strategy, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult. It's a very masculine way. It's very much in the brain. And so I teach women how to do business and how to do money and how to lead in the new paradigm of feminine energy, which is totally different than the thinking of this world. So the thinking of this world is rooted in the illusions of lack, limitation, separation, scarcity, right? So, I teach the spiritual laws of success. Like there's an infinite supply. Like I believe with all of my heart, I don't have to go out to get clients. I attract clients. I magnetize clients with who I am being, with the value of who I am. You know, it's a different way. I lead from my heart. I speak from my heart. I'm in my body. And most women are speaking and feeling and talking from like their throat chakra up. And so I can tell the difference between a woman who's embodied because I can hear her energetic frequencies coming from her heart and her sacral chakra and her solar plexus, you know what I mean? Versus up here. So a lot of women are very disconnected from her body. So what I do is bring that feminine essence back, in a way to where business feels good and leadership feels good and money feels actually really, really good. And so there are, just like there, wisdom, wealth, and well-being portals. These are the pillars to like literally create your divine fortune, live your divine fortune. I've also identified over the past 15 years of launching women into their sacred financial destinies and legacies of love, that there are specific energies of embodiment. What I have identified as the core competencies of embodiment. And the first core competency of embodiment is embodying the soul brand essence of you. This is so important because if you're looking at everyone else to inform you of what your brand should be or how you should show up. Now, there's one thing to look at someone like Cynthia or myself or whomever and feel inspired by that and feel ignited by that. There are codes that we carry that will give you permission to liberate yourself and live into your codes that maybe you are hiding, like your full self-expression and being the goddess and being the queen and being the priestess, right? Like, wow, you just gave me permission to allow myself to reveal this part of myself that I didn't think was acceptable, or that maybe the rules that society has told us or my parents has told us, that you can't be all that in business, or whatever the rules are. It's all about breaking the rules and doing business your way, doing it from a place of ease and grace and joy. So embodying the embodiment of the soul brand essence of you, embodying the soul brand of your leadership is essential to your success, because it is truly the energy of you that people are investing in, not the thing. People want to know, love, and buy from you because they resonate with your frequency, your energy. And if you're regurgitating someone else, or if you're trying to speak in a language because, or if you're even talking or sharing content with the underlying current that you're afraid of what people think of you, that comes across, and your authentic voice cannot be heard, it cannot be seen, it cannot be fully embraced. And you will really see an explosion in your business when you really give yourself permission to dive in the depths of what really makes you you, and bring all of the components of yourself to the forefront of your business, because that you carry soul codes. And people will finally be able to see you, hear you, receive you, and buy from you when you're living in alignment with that truth. So what I do with my clients is I actually identify through a very deep, I almost call it like a medicine journey. It's like a visualization, hypnosis, intuitive, like journey that I take my clients through, where they're able to connect with their higher self, their soulmate clients, and really source a lot of wisdom about their brand, about their purpose. Who am I? Why am I here? That is a question that has to be sourced from spirit. That's not something you get by going through your brain and going, what do I want my brand to be? And you're doing everything in your head. Why does that not work to the level that it could completely explode your business? Because it's not sourced with wisdom. And what we need to be successful is we need to be 1,000% energetically committed to the vision that we have for our lives. If we're not 1,000% energetically committed to the vision of who we are and why we're here and where we're going, and the value and contribution of service we have to offer this planet, then we're not going to show up for life. And, life shows up for those who show up for themselves. Yes. So, like, it's really, really important that you source the wisdom of your soul and weave that into your brand, so that you can 1,000% energetically get behind the soul's divine mission and purpose of why you're here on this planet. That's much different than approaching business as, well, what do I have to offer and what could I sell? Right? Like, there's no soul in that. There's no service in that. There's no magnetism in that. So that's core competency number 1 that I teach. Core competency number 2 is embodying the soul of abundance, which is mastering the secret energy of money. And this is where you heal and transform your relationship with money. This is when you get to play with the energy of money. You get to really understand what money really is and what it means for you. And what I do is I give my clients a unique psychology assessment where I can identify exactly where their shadow sides are, where their money leadership styles are, and how they tick around money, because how you do money is very much how you do many things. And when I'm able to look at women and see where they are holding themselves back, when they don't give themselves permission to receive, when they are overcharging, overgiving, under earning, feeling resentful because they're giving so much away and they don't have money to show in exchange. And then they think like, well, people take advantage of me, and why don't people, and you get into this resentment. Honey, people aren't doing anything from you. They're not taking anything from you. They're just simply mirroring the fact that you you're over giving to the point of self-sacrifice, and there's nothing praiseworthy in self-sacrifice. And so it's really about, healing those parts. So for me, it's about healing the soul and healing the fragments of your mind. So I do a lot of healing identity work. There's a lot of childhood wounds, wounded child archetypes that come into play, parts of us that aren't healed that will show up in our relationship with money. It will show up in our leadership. It will show up in our business. It will show up. So you might as well take care of it from the beginning, because I'd rather take care of it in private before it's displayed publicly. So mastering the secret energy of money is developing a sacred, abundant, and pleasurable relationship to and with money, empowering your voice when it comes to money. And then I lead my clients and students in a very deep, again, medicine journey, hypnotic visualizing, intuitive process where they actually become the energy of money itself. And it has healed them and transformed them and liberated with money like never before. Like once you are able to truly like understand and feel and heal that relationship with money, life begins to be so much easier. The third core competency of wealth embodiment is embodying the soul of service. Now, I know I talked about, wisdom, wealth, and well-being. Services, love is always the main thing that we build on. But when it comes to becoming, let's say, a premium practitioner, coach, healer, consultant, whatever it is, whatever brand, whatever product you have, and you want to be premium, which is my level of expertise, building premium transformation, teaching people to become premium transformational leading experts in their field, which is a huge game changer. This really is tapping into those queen codes. It is, embodying the soul of service, that we create deeply transformational experiences for our clients, as VIP experiences for our clients is, and what is the motivation? The motivation is to be of the highest service and to have the highest impact and the deepest transformation in our clients' lives. So the motivation is truly value. And what I'm seeing in the online industry all these years later is, go, let me teach you how to go get high ticket clients. Well, why should people pay you a premium dollar? Like, what level of value, what level of deep work, what level of preparation have you created so that that kind of energy exchange can be congruent and integral for you and the client? And so this is really important. And embodying the soul of sales, like, the mastering the art of receiving, notice receiving cash and clients and divine opportunities and allies, with ease and grace and magnetism. So these are the core competencies that I've developed. This is the path, this is the sacred path to abundant prosperity that I've identified, mapped, created curriculum. And this is what I take my private clients through, my live group programs through. And this is what when you have these core competencies embodied, then you will 1,000% energetically get behind your vision, why you are here, who you are, why you are here, and the value and contribution you're here to serve. And that's magnetism. Like it's just so beautiful. And for me, I love spaciousness in my life. I love being able to cherry pick my clients, just like this is freedom. For me, it's about liberation. It is about having the lifestyle, being able to travel the world, being able to, go boating on my lake, paddleboarding, being with my poodle, dating, romance, like I want to live my life at the highest frequency and feel so good about it. And I want to have so much spaciousness while at the same time giving deep transformation to my clients. And you don't have to sacrifice one or the other. You can live as a powerful feminine woman who takes a powerful stand for this and that, not this or that. When you're making decisions, make decisions as a queen. Give yourself permission to have this and that, not this or that. Eliminate the separation. Give yourself permission to receive all that is good, all that is beautiful, and all that is abundant, simply because you exist, simply because you are a child of the divine.
Exactly. I love that. I always say, especially when it comes to being on screen and converting on camera, if you want to call it that, it's never about convincing. And that's what
Right.
it's not about convincing. It's about conveying your message and standing in your truth, because your people will value you. It's not about pleasing everybody. It's about speaking to your person, because that person's going to hear it and be like, she is talking to me. Like, that is my person. And then again, that's just embodying who you are and being authentic about it. I think that's wonderful. We're all 5% conscious, 95% subconscious. I consider that 5% human, 95% spirit. We may not understand it, but we just vibe with certain people because we can sense in our spirit, connected to their spirit, that this is, like you said, a soul contract. I'm supposed to be with this person. And I always say, you never underestimate who you are and what you offer. And it's not about, like you said, comparing to other people. You are the Harvard of what you do. I fully
Mm.
believe that. I am the best. I am not a gamble. I am 100% a guarantee. I'm always going to show up. I'm always going to serve. I'm always going to give my best. And I believe I am Harvard. I'm not affiliated with Harvard, but when I say that, we know that that means the best. Some people will buy off price. Some people will buy off value. You always want the person that buys off value because they understand what it's worth and they really, value you. And so some people go to Harvard and say, Harvard, you're too expensive. Does Harvard say, oh, well, you're right, maybe for you, and maybe I'll reconsider? No, they know they're Harvard. They're going to say, hey, there's a community college down the road. And not that that's a bad thing for certain people, but Harvard is Harvard. And people that go,
Harvard doesn't lower the standards. Yeah,
right.
their standards of their, yes, brand and values. Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So it's just like, and people may not be able to afford Harvard, but they value it that they'll get a part-time job, they'll get a loan because they know they're going to walk away with a completely different attitude, mindset, proximity, power proximity, being around people who also invested. It's a huge thing. And I'm so happy that you brought that up because that's so true. And like you said, too, people are not about, necessarily being sold to anymore. They want to be able to shop. And people are now shopping based off desire, not necessarily off a need. And if
Mm.
you're like, "Nah, nah, nah," like, and try and convince people and like being sweating about the numbers you have to make, it's never going to work. And I just love that you're right. This is exactly it. When it comes to being successful in business, it's about understanding who you are, being authentic, and just really serving with a mission. This is how you attract your people. Your people. And I love, love, love that you're on the same page with that. You said it so magnificently. I loved it. I would love to for you. I know we're hanging out for a while, but I think this is really good for everybody. I love how you use the word pleasure a lot.
Mm.
And I always see your adorable, sexy videos. You're always, talking about the goddess and just having pleasure in life. And I think this is something that women don't allow enough of. And I would just love for you to talk a little bit about what does pleasure mean? Like, how should we be experiencing pleasure in our life? And then, of course, as we wrap up, I want everyone to know how they can follow you and all of that when we get into it. So, what is pleasure
This is
for?
such a great question and will really, pleasure is going to increase your profits, ladies. And what has happened is women came into a man's world when it comes to work. Men were the ones that wrote the rules on success and money and leadership. We actually came into the workforce and fit ourselves into a man's paradigm, which unfortunately was a very wounded masculine paradigm because a lot of men, haven't really been connected to our hearts. I mean, they were programmed to don't feel, don't cry.
Yeah.
And so now we have this divine feminine rising and, pleasure, making decisions. Does this feel good? Women are so disconnected from their pleasure. They leave pleasure for just being in the bedroom with their partner. And pleasure can be brought into everything that you do, from actually taking your time to taste your food, chew your food, enjoy your food, have a cup of tea, have a luxurious bath. Like, I mean, pleasure can be you actually giving yourself permission to feel what it would feel like right now in this moment. What would it feel like? And could you give yourself permission right now in this moment to feel really turned on by money? Like, ooh, like,
Money.
mm, yeah, like, can you bring this orgasmic part of you into like life itself, which is really about Tantra? Tantra, the purest form of Tantra, is having an ecstatic relationship to life where the sun kisses your face and you feel it. You're in the moment, you're in your body, you're feeling the pleasure of what it feels like for the sun to kiss your skin. Or when you're in the moment with your pet and you're just stroking your pet, like that's it. That is all ecstatic. It's the senses. It's giving ourselves permission to feel. And women don't give themselves, and most women in business don't give themselves permission to feel. They cut pleasure off. It's like business creates this part where it's like they're only in their brain, and that creates women that are over masculine.
Yep.
Over, and that bleeds into the relationships as well, and it's not hot, it's not magnetizing. So giving yourself permission, to tune into, does this decision feel good for me?
Yeah.
Even asking yourself, making decisions, how does this turn me on? Like that's a way to be able to access pleasure, to activate pleasure. Move your body. If you want to increase your revenue, move your hips. Move your hips, lady. I cannot stress this enough. Move your hips. So, like, I definitely practice like a very sensual, like yoga practice where I'm doing a lot of heart openers and hip openers. Maybe I'm like dancing, and I just want to have a sensory experience of what it feels like to be in my body.
Yeah.
And I give this assignment to all of my female clients and students is move your body, feel turned on, activate your pleasure, move your hips. If you're about to speak to large audiences or you're about to go live, you definitely want to be moving your hips for sure, because your hips activates your sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra is right above your root chakra. That is the space and place where your sensuality is. This is where our womb is. This is where creation itself resides in your womb. There is wealth here. And so when we're disconnected from this part of our natural essence, when it comes to money and leadership and business and communication and all of these things, we are like there's millions of dollars on the table that we haven't even really been able to access. Sure, you can get so far in your masculine. Sure, you can get so far in your mind. I did it and I gained a lot of weight. And it burned my adrenal glands out. And my son saw the back of my head more than my face because I was a single mom and I was working too hard and I didn't know what I didn't know. But now I'm able to pass this wisdom along to others. And it's time for women to reclaim their pleasure
Yeah.
and, bring this pleasure into every single day of their life. Um, Pleasure in their business. Like, notice in your body when you get tensed up, like, ask yourself, how can this feel good? I wake up in the morning and ask myself, how does my soul, like, how good can I allow myself to feel? How good can I allow myself to feel with money? And I really invite everyone to even write that down as a journal prompt or make a mental note of it, like asking yourself and creating a practice of how good am I willing to feel in this moment right now to my relationship with life, to my relationship with money? Because if you actually give yourself permission to feel turned on in that way, you will open the portal of the goddess.
Yeah.
You will open up infinite receiving that's available for you.
This is so funny because I can see some of my clients here on the live. They love watching our guest. But last night I meet with them on Tuesdays, and we were talking about being an entrepreneur or being an executive woman and go, 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 go. I have 2 children. I have a rental portfolio. I have a husband. I have 2 businesses. I am the face of this company. I am leading my team. I'm training, live video, podcasts, all these things. What happens for lunch? I have a to-do list, and sometimes I have to eat lunch on there. No, that's not okay. It's important to actually taste your food, to
Yeah.
sit and like you said, be a good receiver. Show the universe, show God, I am taking in these gifts. And they say, oh my gosh, she likes that. Then let's give her more. Let's give her more. Appreciate your food. Their homework assignment this week is to go buy grapes at the grocery store and to
Oh
actually eat them like a
my God, I love it. Yes.
actual fruit and think, oh my God, these taste even better than candy. Why do I have grapes in my kitchen all the time? Taste the texture, feel the texture, taste all the juices, like enjoy it and like feel good about it, because this is how we should be doing. Even if you only have a granola bar on the go, stop for a second and taste the texture, feel it. These are things that we just subconsciously write out and loop and go over and over again. And we're showing universe that we're not good receivers, but we keep begging
Right.
for more.
It's self-sacrifice instead of self-pleasure. And it's about nourishing your life. But there's a totally different paradigm that that can be open for a woman when she takes that principle and applies it to the energetics of money itself.
Yeah. I think there's just so much good food for thought. I think we have a lot of wheels spinning, a lot of light bulbs. I see so many people celebrating womb of creation. Yes, we got emojis galore everywhere. Everyone's having a great time. So how can everybody continue following you? What social media links are you at? I would love for them to go follow you, check you out. This is somebody I absolutely love and adore. You're going to definitely hear more
Thank
from her.
you. much. So Tara Grace on Facebook, friend me, send me a message, let me know you watched. Tell me what your takeaways are. So Tara Grace you can friend me on Facebook. I have a like page. My
The
website
group?
is,
Yeah.
say it again.
You're a member in the Facebook group, so they can easily type in Tara Grace
Yes.
to find you if you're.
Yeah. My website's tara-grace.com. And I'm looking forward to celebrating everyone's awareness and insights and takeaways
Yeah.
from this.
We mean it. Whenever we're like, please connect with us, we mean please connect with us. DM us. Let us know your takeaways. Let us know how we can serve more. We don't like to talk about things that we think you want to hear. We talk about things we know you want to hear. So again, thank you so much for being here today, Tara. Honestly, so much words of wisdom. This is so exciting. This is exactly what this group is all about. Just empowering your femininity, really just honing your authenticity and finding levels of success in all areas of life. So
And
thank you.
Cynthia, I honor you. I celebrate you. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for how you show up. Thank you for creating this space. Thank you for giving me this platform. I don't take it lightly. And I just celebrate the beauty and the glory that you be and why you're here. So thank you so much.
Thank
Blessings.
you. And to all of our successful souls, until the next time, acknowledge it, embrace it, see it through. Bye, successful souls.